5の型延々長だ。
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best fight scenes from Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba.
俺の家族を侮辱するな!
Number 30, Muzan vs. Lower Demon Moons. We may be stretching the definition of fight with this one, it's honestly more of a slaughter.
平服せよ。
Kibutsuji Muzan summons the lower ranks of the 12 Demon Moons after the loss of one of their number. Unsatisfied with their relatively high turnover rates, Muzan proceeds to kill and devour them one by one.
申し訳ありません。申し訳ない。
Some beg for their lives, others attempt to flee through the Infinity Castle, yet all but one of them die by Muzan's monstrous mutated hands. It may not be much of a fight, but it's still a terrifyingly effective display of the power and cruelty of the series' main villain. Number 29, Sonami vs. Obana vs. Muichiro. Sometimes anime original material can be awesome. While training the lower-ranked members of the Demon Slayer Corps, Hashira's Sonami and Obana spar with each other to get their own training in.
僕も混ぜてくださいよ。
時とか。
They're soon joined by Muichiro, leading to a three-way duel between the trio. Each of their distinct breathing styles are rendered beautifully, and the rapid movement soon becomes too quick to follow. We may not get to see the duel's outcome, but this friendly spar tears holes in the ground and leaves all three of them winded.
夜はお前らと実戦形式の稽古。悪くはねえ。
It's just awesome seeing the Hashira in action, no matter how briefly. Number 28, Sonami and Obana vs. Castle Demons. When the Wind and Snake Hashiras are called out to investigate a woman who vanished in the area, they stumble into a whole nest of demons in an abandoned castle. The two leave their subordinates behind and chase after the kidnapped woman as the demon carrying her tries desperately to escape. The duo cut through dozens of demons using their signature styles in their pursuit of the hostage, even venturing out onto the castle's roof.
危なかったな。
Eventually, the demon escapes into the other dimension of the Infinity Castle, leaving the Hashira behind. This battle may technically be filler, but it's fantastic nonetheless.
待て、クソったれー!
Number 27, Tanjiro and Nezuko vs. Gyu. The first Demon Slayer Tanjiro and his sister Nezuko meets is Tomioka Gyu. Unfortunately, it's after Nezuko has already been turned into a demon. Gyu tries to kill Nezuko, only for Tanjiro to risk his life to save her. Gyu is puzzled by the boy defending a demon, even if it is his sister. His attempts to dissuade Tanjiro while holding Nezuko at sword points are unsuccessful too. Ultimately, Tanjiro makes a rush for Gyu, making a surprisingly strategic axe throw.
斧はどこだ?
Although Gyu knocks him out, he's impressed by the boy's clear-headedness and by Nezuko's willingness to protect her brother despite being a demon. It's the show's first fight, yet it already shows the potential of not only these siblings, but the series too.
何か違うのかもしれない。
Number 26, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Tengen vs. Daki's Obi. The Demon Slayer's investigation into the disappearances in the entertainment district eventually leads Inosuke into an underground chamber. There he discovers the larder of Daki, the 6th upper-ranked demon. She keeps her prey trapped in the living obi until she eats them. However, the obi is unable to lay a blow on Inosuke, whose bestial spatial awareness has him dodging every attack and shredding the living stomach wrap until he's freed many of the captive women.
伊之助様に当たりゃ死ねえケツも食って出直してきな
He also manages to free a sleeping Zenitsu, who promptly cuts through most of the obi in a flash. Tengen soon joins them and slices the rest. It's mainly a prelude to the bigger fights that follow, but it still wraps up nicely. Number 25, Giyu vs Sonami. When Tanjiro goes to the water Hashira's place for training, he finds Giyu engaging in a sparring session with Sonami.
見える動きを終えるぞ
The hot-blooded Wind Hashira makes for a perfect contrast to the cool, calm, and collected Giyu. Their attacks fly fast and furious, but Tanjiro still manages to observe their moves despite how fast they are.
七の型雫波紋突き
この方木枯らしおろし
The duel between Hashiras doesn't last long and ultimately results in a draw, since they both break their wooden swords. Even so, it's a thrilling fight for what it is. It's just too bad Sonami is so embarrassed about loving red bean mochi. Chill out, man.
こしあんですかつぶあんですか俺もおばあちゃんのおはぎが大好きで
Number 24, Zenitsu vs Tongue Demon. This golden-haired demon slayer doesn't exactly inspire confidence when we first meet him. Even while trying to protect young Shoichi, Zenitsu is both figuratively and literally shaking at the knees.
お前の脳髄を耳からジェロリと吸ってやるぞ
Though we'll grant that the long-tongued demon chasing them is pretty terrifying. Eventually, the demon makes a threat so disgusting that Zenitsu passes out. However, this turns out to be the best thing for them, since with his inhibitions no longer a problem, Zenitsu cuts through the demon's tongue in a flash. He then does the same thing to the creature's head. Zenitsu's first on-screen battle may start rough, but he comes in clutch when it counts. Number 23, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Giyu vs Spider Father. The battles against the Spider family are action-packed, and see the Demon Slayers battle a whole gaggle of arachnid-themed demons.
果物呼吸一の牙くれうがつ抜け
The massive so-called patriarch of the group is confronted initially by Tanjiro and Inosuke. Both of them struggle to pierce father's hardened skin. Despite some inventive moves from Tanjiro, he's flung a great distance away, forcing Inosuke to fight alone.
絶対に負けねえ俺は鬼殺隊の橋平伊之助だ
It's a great opportunity to see the Wild Slayer confront not only his fear, but also bits of his past. Plus, it showcases his bull-headed and boar-headed fighting style. Giyu then swoops in to save the day and reveals not only how strong he is, but also how far our heroes have to go.
死の型打ちしよう
Number 22, Tanjiro vs Inosuke. Sometimes the best way to make friends is through an exchange of punches. Inosuke makes his debut trying to kill Nezuko, as he doesn't know her circumstances. Although Zenitsu protects her initially, Tanjiro takes over once he arrives on the scene. He then engages Inosuke in a fist fight. Inosuke immediately displays his incredible flexibility and fierceness in battle. Nevertheless, Tanjiro is no slouch either, and manages to knock out even someone as hard-headed as Inosuke with a headbutt. Most fights in the series involve swords, which makes this bare-handed brawl a fun change of pace, and a great introduction to Inosuke and his surprisingly gorgeous face.
なんだこら俺の顔に文句でもあんのか
Number 21, Demon Slayers vs Muzan, Round 1. After centuries of fighting, the Demon Slayers finally make their strike against Muzan. After their leader Ubuyashiki's fiery sacrifice leaves Muzan painfully regenerating, Tamayo reveals herself by using a blood demon art to impale Muzan and has him absorb a drug to turn him human again. Himeshima Gyome then arrives and beheads Muzan with his mace. While decapitation proves frustratingly ineffective, the other Hashiras and Tanjiro arrive on the scene too, each preparing to use their breathing styles. Unfortunately, even cornered, Muzan has a plan. He teleports them all to the Infinity Castle. While it's mostly an introduction to the larger battle, this opening salvo is still sheer, unadulterated hype.
地獄に行くのはお前だ無惨絶対に逃がさないやってみろできるものならかまど炭治郎
Number 20, Tanjiro vs Kyogai. You could say that this demon really marches to the beat of his own drum, so given the musicality of it all, it's not too surprising that this is less of a fight and more of a dance. These shifting walls force Tanjiro to keep pace with Kyogai's beats, or risk succumbing to it.
俺がくじけることは絶対にない
It's a riveting back and forth, especially because it requires Tanjiro to use both his head and his sword. But of course, all that build-up means nothing without a clutch ending. Here, Kyogai's stirring performance gets silenced by a truly mesmerizing ballet of Tanjiro's water breathing.
兄弟君の決起術はすごかった
Yeah, talk about dropping the beats. Number 19, Giyu vs Rui. Tanjiro put up a good fight and all, but he was still just an appetizer to the main course. That main course being Water Hashira Giyu Tomioka in all his glory.
俺が来るまでよくこらえたあとは任せろ
He was a bit late to the party, but he quickly made up for lost time by showing Rui the wrong side of a dead calm attack. Emphasis on the dead part. It tore through the lower five's threads, pride, and neck in a single effortless stroke. Rui didn't even have the time to react, let alone block. As a result, this might go down as the quickest victory in Demon Slayer history. And it was against a Kizuki no less.
もう一度
Number 18, Tanjiro and Inosuke vs Spider Mother. When these three slayers went in for the kill, they discovered there were a few strings attached. Namely, a whole lot of actual strings controlling the bodies of their comrades. But Tanjiro and Inosuke took that as a challenge and proceeded to slice and dice their way right to the puppeteer's main body. Then yet, it's not quite right to call this a slaying. The Spider Mother feared Rui more than death, and as such, she practically begged Tanjiro to put her out of her misery. Her reign ends on a surprisingly emotional note, but at the very least, Tanjiro's gentle beheading is the closest thing to mercy a demon can get.
これで解放される
Number 17, Tanjiro and Nezuko vs Swamp Demon. Tanjiro's first mission truly threw him into the deep end.
妹に触るな
On the hunt for a demon kidnapping and devouring innocent maidens, he soon finds himself treading water against three identical demons, all capable of sinking into their own swamp world at will. While watching Tanjiro slice up the horned fiends on their home turf thanks to his water-breathing techniques is all kinds of awesome,
六の肩
the real standout is seeing Nezuko step up to the plate, with her demon blood now granting her enough strength to kick a demon's head clean off. it was clear she was no longer just a victim inside a box. Number 16, Tanjiro vs Sabito. An unexpected training partner, a brutal teacher, the ghost of a dead child, a boulder? The masked fox boy turned out to be all of these. Appearing before Tanjiro in order to help take his sword training to the next level, the two proceed to duel day after day until pain and defeat mold the wannabe demon slayer into a superior fighter. Their final confrontation may be brief, but it's an essential step on Tanjiro's journey, bringing things to a close with a single, almost beautiful slash.
一瞬で勝負は決まったこの日この瞬間初めて俺の歯が先にサビトに届いた
Number 15, Shinobu vs Spider Sister. She may be all smiles, but that doesn't mean she isn't a savage dispenser of demons.
わあ、すごいですね。
Encountering the last member of Rui's spider clan, Shinobu quickly demonstrates why it's unwise to underestimate a Hashira. With but a few pricks of her sword, along with a vibrant, metaphorical burst of butterflies, she's able to bring down the treacherous spider thanks to the poison laced along her blade. Some would say it's a worse fate than getting your head chopped off, but Shinobu is just hardcore like that.
首を切られてないからって安心したらいけませんよ。私のように毒を使う剣士もいますからね。
Number 14, Tanjiro and Nezuko vs Yahaba and Suzarumaru. Far from reaching the heights of the 12 demon moons, these two enforcers of Kibutsuji's will still made for quite a challenge. With one able to launch Temari balls at such speed it can render flesh, and the other able to send a person flying with invisible arrows, both Tanjiro and Nezuko are put through their paces. However, Tanjiro's versatility in the face of overwhelming pain eventually gets the better of the arrow spammer, leaving Nezuko free to show her aptitude for kicking balls into oblivion. Watch out, Zenitsu. Number 13, Zenitsu vs Spider Brother. Loud, obnoxious, and just a tad too desperate to get with a girl before he meets an untimely death, Zenitsu certainly seemed like a poor fit for the Demon Slayer Corps. At least until he proved he did have the skills, so long as he's unconscious at the time. These were put on full display when he found himself set upon by the insidious and oh so creepy older brother of Rui's fake family. Turns out that even if you poison and overwhelm them with spiders, there's not much that can stop a living lightning bolt. Number 12, Tanjiro and Inosuke vs Mugen Train. How does one cut the neck of a demon the size of a train and layered with hypnosis-inducing eyes? Easy, just partner up with your best boar buddy and run wild. Coordinating their strikes together in order to finally bring an end to Enmu, both Tanjiro and Inosuke bring their varying swordsmanship to the forefront as they launch one hell of a combo. While Inosuke carves up every eye in sight with his unorthodox dual wielding, Tanjiro follows it up with a breathtaking demonstration of the Hinokami. Number 11, Mitsuri vs Zoh Haken. Man, if looks could kill. From her glorious entrance down to her love-breathing attacks, Mitsuri single-handedly proved that Hashira don't have to choose between beauty or brawn. Look no further than her fight with Zoh Haken.
ごめんね、遅れちゃって。 ギリギリだったね。
Her whip-like sword practically shredded him into wood chips, and she looked stylish as hell while doing it. But leave it to the love Hashira to fill this fight with a ton of heart too. Watching her overcome her personal struggles elevates this fight from simply dazzling to downright breathtaking.
守るって言ったでしょ。あっちには行かせないんだから。
While she doesn't clinch the win on her own, it's safe to say there's still a whole lot to love here. Number 10, Tanjiro vs Hand Demon. The first true test of Tanjiro's skills, the final selection not only had him taking on lesser demons in a test of survival, but also brought him face to face with a monstrous glutton. As the one responsible for killing the rest of Daki's students, Sabito and Makumo included, it falls to Tanjiro to get revenge. Turns out all that boulder cutting came in handy, since in spite of its tough exterior and never-ending surge of hands, the hulky demon wasn't prepared for Tanjiro's first foray into water breathing. Number 9, Muichiro vs Gyoko.
事実を言ってるだけで、どうせ君は僕に首を切られて死ぬんだし。
At the end of this beatdown, the missed Hashira has done more damage to Gyoko's ego than his body. Considering the demon loses his head, that's really saying something. Rest assured, Muichiro isn't all talk though. Once he reignites his will to fight, he gives Gyoko a pulse-pounding duel that has to be seen to be believed. The exquisite production values convey so much strength and speed that it's almost hard to keep up with. And that is a compliment.
ねえ、君はさ、なんで自分だけが本気じゃないと思ったの?
After all that, it's no wonder Gyoko doesn't leave his opponent's mist alive. The Hashira passes out before he can celebrate the win, but all things considered, he deserves a good nap. Number 8, Muichiro, Tanjiro, and Nezuko vs Hangu. This doesn't stay a 3-on-1 for very long. Soon enough, Hangu splits in two. Then he does it again. The multiplying enemies keep upping the ante until, eventually, the whole thing is a no-holds-barred battle royale.
喜ばしいの別れるのは久方ぶりじゃ
Thankfully, Tanjiro has an ace up his sleeve called Hinokami Kagura. With a boost from Nezuko's blood demon art, the Kamado siblings show Hantengu's 4 bodies what a real slayer looks like. Spoiler alert, it consists of top-rate animation, stellar choreography, and fights so intense, you'll never want to look away. Then, right when you think it's over, Hantengu brings out a secret 5th body just for good measure. This truly is the fight that keeps on giving. Number 7, Tanjiro vs Daki. If you're looking for a good old-fashioned fight to the finish, it doesn't get any better than this. Daki's an upper-rank 6 Kizuki, but Tanjiro, he's just got Hinokami Kagura and the guts to use it, even if it costs him his breathing.
Hinokami Kagura. Shakkotsu Enyo.
It's not exactly a recommended tactic, but the results are undeniable. On both a visual and plot level, watching him cut Daki into ribbons is nothing short of exhilarating, especially since if it weren't for her quick thinking, Tanjiro could have taken Daki's head right then and there.
あんたなんかに私の首が切れるわけないでしょ
Suffice it to say, by the time all is said and done, Tanjiro's not the only one who's forgotten to breathe. Number 6, Tanjiro vs Enmu. With a blood demon art capable of sending a person into the deepest of dreams with a single command, Enmu proved himself to be a cut above the rest of his demon brethren.
覚醒のための自決をしているのだ
At least until he made the fatal mistake of toying with memories of Tanjiro's family. By taking his own life within the dreamscape over and over again, Tanjiro is able to consistently break Enmu's hold over him. Even when shown hellish visions of his slaughtered family, it only further steels his resolve.
言うはずやないだろそんなこと俺の 家族が
And cue the water dragon. Number 5. Tanjiro and Nezuko vs Rui. Setting both swords and the internet on fire, Tanjiro's clash with the spidery lower moon pushed him further than any demon has so far. Even with his sword and most of his body broken, Tanjiro refuses to surrender, risking it all to save Nezuko from Rui's webs. You'd think him unleashing the latent power of Hinokami would be the ultimate showstopper, but then along comes Nezuko with her own blood demon arts to really kick things into high gear. Who knew watching someone get their head cleaved off could be so artful? Number 4. Nezuko vs Daki. Even for a demon, this is pretty brutal. Daki made the fatal mistake of messing with Tanjiro, and in return, Nezuko taught her a lesson she'll never forget. Mostly via some very vicious kicks. The worst part? To Nezuko and her newly awakened powers, this isn't even a fight, it's a game, one where Daki's head is the ball. To be fair, the Kizuki totally had this coming, but that doesn't make the one-sided beatdown any easier to stomach. Nezuko's transformation is so overwhelming that, at a certain point, it's hard to decide whether you should cheer or be afraid. Either way, this is certainly a fight to remember for better or for worse. Number 3. Tanjiro and Nezuko vs Hangu. Tanjiro and Nezuko have been the soul of some of Demon Slayer's most iconic moments, and this one is no different. The sun rising, Hangu's on the loose, and there's a choice to be made: save Nezuko or rescue the villagers. Understandably, Tanjiro can't decide, so his sister chooses for him. After such an emotional gut punch, Hangu's actual death feels like a bit of an afterthought. Sure, that final strike is as cool as they come, but it's nothing without the impact of Nezuko's sacrifice. Tanjiro's the one who swung the sword, but this is as much a win for her as it is for her brother. Number 2. Rengoku vs Akaza. Outburning and outdoing whatever on thought possible, the flame Hashira's last stand against one of the upper demon moons defied all expectations. Even with Akaza's instant regeneration and unholy strength slowly chipping away at him, Rengoku refuses to abandon his duty or his apprentice demon slayers.
俺の責務を全うする。ここにいる者は誰も死なせない。
The entire bout is an onslaught of staggering visuals, all held together by Rengoku's unfathomable drive to do what he must, unleashing a torrent of flame-breathing techniques more stunning than the last. It may have ended in tragedy, but you couldn't have asked for a greater testament to such a larger-than-life character. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Slayers vs Daki and Gyutaro. With not just one but two Kizuki to take down, Demon Slayer brought out all the stops for a bona fide internet melting climax. Although at this point, is anyone surprised? After all, there's more hype moments in one episode than most series get in a whole season. You've got Tengen's flashy moves, Inosuke's clutch entrance, Tanjiro growing his mark, and so much more. It all culminates into an adrenaline-fueled finisher that's all but guaranteed to leave your jaw on the floor. We could keep going for a while, but for now, we'll just leave it at this. If Daki and Gyutaro's end isn't Demon Slayer at its absolute best, we don't know what is. Is there a Demon Slayer fight we forgot? Don't lose your heads. Tell us your favorites in those comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.